Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in your day. This is Kimberly Sheridan of Losing It with Kimberly. Glad you're back with me today. I'm feeling pretty good. I've been up for a little while at this point, though. Unfortunately, I had one of those dreams, right before I woke up, I had one of those dreams that was just simply exhausting. I was lost in a city and trying to get back to my mother. Other family members were in the dream. It was, I can't quite figure out what it all means yet. It was just a stress dream, essentially. But, all in all, my body feels pretty good. It's about 7:49 in the morning, so not a late start. Not too bad. I mean, I did get up early and I thought I'd be on here before 7, but yeah, that's okay. Got some things done. So yesterday, I was really proud of myself. When I stepped off the treadmill and walked upstairs, I wrote on my to-do list that I was going to cut back on standing hours and increase my treadmill desk time. And so I was going to, not for the same amount of hours, but I was going to cut back on standing desk because, as I mentioned yesterday, I had found that some of the things I'm working on right now in my business are strategic, and I am having trouble thinking as clearly standing up as I would sitting at my desk. And secondarily, with papers printed out and, sort of arranged in front of me so I can sort of see the whole picture of something. Number one, I need that. But number two, I really do think that I think better sitting down. At least for strategic kind of things. I'm not sure if that's a problem, but that seems to be the case. And so I don't want my standing desk commitment to sabotage my work. And I was sort of feeling like that was happening, like I was trying to hit my standing desk goal and of all the things I need to do at work, choosing activities that I could get done, at my standing desk, and then sort of pushing aside some of the stuff that is really more important, which is the big picture. So I had done that for, several days and thought I need to reassess this situation. So as I mentioned yesterday, I was going to take some hours off of my standing desk commitment just for a little while and maybe add on one extra hour, at my treadmill desk. Not that those would equate necessarily, but just so I don't feel like I'm taking away something and not adding something else. So I wasn't going to make it even because the whole point is to have sitting time at my desk. So I wasn't going to take away, 4 hours of standing desk and do 4 hours of treadmill desk. That doesn't give me any time at my sitting desk where I need to be doing, my bigger picture thinking. So I was proud of myself. The whole point, I was proud of myself for remembering once I got off the treadmill and went upstairs. So I remembered, I wrote it on my to-do list, and then I went over to my daily ritual chart to add my red smiley face for having completed the treadmill desk, for yesterday. And I went, oh man, I totally forgot that I was supposed to do weights today. So, like I've said before, when I have a whole weight routine, I don't think I'll have this problem because I'll attach it in my mind to cardio. So I'll be like, okay, treadmill weights. It'll be a package in my mind. I mean, I think that might be the case, but who knows? I might still forget sometimes, and it's going to be so much harder to leave my workout area, go upstairs, look at my daily ritual chart and be reminded, and then have to come back down and do it. It's going to be so much harder if it's an entire weight routine, like a 30 or 45 minute weight routine, versus now it's just 3 exercises, right? One set of 3 different exercises. So it's like less than 10 minutes. So it wasn't that big of a deal, to be able to come back down and do that. And it might be, I forget, I might still forget even when I have a bigger routine because I've never really worked out at home, so when you go to the gym, there's nothing else to do there. There's no dishes or food to eat or meal prep to do or putting away laundry that I hung to dry overnight, or in my case, I work from home, so sometimes, just start to work immediately after I've been on the treadmill. you're only at the gym for one thing. You're only there for a single thing, which is just to work out. And so there's really no forgetting what you're there for. So I guess conceivably, I could have gone to the gym and done cardio and then walked out the door, forgetting that it was a weights day. But that didn't happen in the past. But anything's possible these days, I'd say. But for now, working out at home, I think I'm going to, that's going to happen sometimes. And unlike yesterday, where I just had to come down and do, it's probably only 7-8 minutes of 3 exercises, since I'm only doing one set of each. Unlike yesterday, if I, in the future, forget, I'm going to have to really push myself. I'm not going to push myself. I'm going to do it, but I'm just going to it's going to stink to be like, oh man, I forgot, and then have like 30 or 45 more minutes, to do once I come back down. But in addition to working out at home, which is new to me, my mind is slipping over the past decade. Definitely, you read articles about how that happens to women in menopause, but I have, and you read about articles about how that happens to women in menopause, and I feel like 3 times more high priority, non-negotiable things on my mind than any one person can handle every day. So I hope that it's one of those 2 things. I hope that once I regain, my life before aging takes over, that I'll have a window of years when my responsibilities are lessened and my brain hasn't started to degrade, because of my age. Or Alzheimer's in my case. I hope I'll have a window of time when my brain will be sharpened or somewhat sharpened again. So my biggest challenge isn't forgetting, to do my workout. But hey, that's where that daily ritual chart comes in for me. It's definitely, I love it because of being able to put my smileys and feel good about myself. But I also love it because it reminds me to actually do the things. It's one thing if you're not willing to make changes. It's another if you're willing, you just keep forgetting, on the Alzheimer's front, for me, I'm still, leaning toward not focusing on that happening to me, like keeping my thoughts on not inheriting that from my mom's side of the family, and getting my dad's side of the family in terms of, my brain health. But at the same time, I do keep up with what's going on in the news in regard to Alzheimer's research and Alzheimer's early detection and early treatment. And there actually are a couple of bright spots, thankfully, in that arena, over the past year in terms of them coming up with some medical treatments for it, or medicine for it, to at least stop the development in your brain. So hopefully that will progress enough that it won't be too late, to have a good impact for me if I do indeed have the predisposition. I have not been tested for that yet because I honestly can't handle knowing that information. You can test. I haven't read a lot about the testing, but I believe that you can be tested to see if you have the buildup in your brain that indicates that you are going to develop Alzheimer's. However, since there's no treatment, there would be no action for me to take. So there would just be feelings of dread with no actual proactive steps to take at this juncture. So it's on my radar as something I'll probably do a couple years from now. Honestly, if a treatment came out that would help stop the development, I would have the test done, I would pursue the treatment. But until that happens, there's no payoff for me knowing, and I don't have the emotional bandwidth to deal with knowing at this point. Hopefully in the future, when the availability of possible treatments out, I'll also have more space in my life to deal with the feelings of that, because it's a pretty devastating last 10 years of your life, with a huge burden on your family and no value for you. I know that's a downer, but that's just the fact. So it's not a future I'd really want to face. And, so sometimes you do have to sort of package up information in your mind and put it in a little box and put that box away for a little while. I mean, if there was something I could do about it now, because there were treatments, I would absolutely do that. But since there's not, I'm just keeping my eye on the research, have my Google alert set up for it, and keep my eye on the research, stay up to date, and I'll take action when action is necessary. And so I think that's true, for other people, for other things in their life. Sometimes there's nothing you can do in a certain window of time. And that's okay. It doesn't mean you're not going to deal with it at another time, or when circumstances are better, or another, like I said, another peace of mind is, I know it's going to take emotional bandwidth to face, something like that. And so I would have to, even if a treatment was available, I would still be weighing, can I handle that right now, or would my world be crushed and I wouldn't be able to keep up, right, with what I need to do in my life right now for myself, for my mother, and for my children. So everybody has something along the way, right, that they need to make some choices about, and that's where I'm positioning myself right now with that. Anyway, on a brighter note, yesterday, once I realized I hadn't done my exercises, I came right back down with my cell phone, with my Pandora app, and I cranked out my 3 single sets of exercises, and I came back upstairs, put my smiley face in that box for the day, and moved on with my life. The lesson here is you don't have to be perfect. You can just do what you're committed to. That's your only thing that you got to do. You don't have to be perfect about it. You just have to do what's on that daily chart. So if you only So the lesson here is you don't have to be perfect. You just have to do what you've committed to on your daily ritual chart. And you only have to commit to what you are willing to stick with consistently. Because you can always build up, You're doing this for yourself. You're not doing it for me or for anybody else. And you're not doing it to yourself, right? Just figure out what you're committed to or willing to do consistently. Slap it on that chart and just do it every day, right? And if you find that you're not willing to do it somewhat consistently, change it. Make it a lesser goal. Remove that goal for now. Put some other goal on there that you are willing to do. It's not what you should do or what you wish you could do, but where you really are right now in your life, willing and able to do consistently. Right? So you write those things in your daily ritual chart and you aim to do them 99.999% of the time, and so for me right now, I'm only committed to doing 1 set of 3 exercises, so when I saw that I'd forgotten to do it, I just did it, right? And I moved on with the day. No beating myself up for forgetting, no talking myself out of doing it, I just did it. So to me, that's one of the beautiful aspects about putting things on your daily ritual chart and choosing things at a level that you're willing to do 99.99% of the time, is that you remove countless choice points. Choice points are what I call those times of the day when you should be doing something, or it would be good to be doing something specific, and we said we'd do it, and we didn't do it, right? But we give ourselves the opportunity to back out, we give ourselves the opportunity to make a choice at this point of the day. And we have countless times throughout each of our days that these thoughts come up in our mind, questioning whether we really have to do that thing that we said we were going to do, whether it's something good for you or whether it's not doing something, that's bad for you, like grabbing some junk food, like in my case, right? Grabbing some junk food. You said you weren't going to do it and then you did, right? And so when our minds arrive at each of these choice points throughout the day, the most common phrase that might come up in your mind is, well, I don't feel like it. That's for things that are good for us, or things that are bad for us, like the junk food in my case. I might say, well, forget it. I don't even care anymore. I'm just going to eat this because I want it, So we give into that voice, right? But if you put something on your daily ritual chart, you've made a decision that you want to do this thing on a consistent basis, and you remove choice from the equation. So choice is no longer a factor, right? So there's a difference between decision and choice. A decision is something you do once. There's no flip-flopping. You either decide you're committed to doing something or you're not, and there's no right or wrong here. There's no value judgment on that. You just make a decision of what you're willing to commit to, right? And in our situation, I'm saying, hey, make it as small as it needs to be for you to commit to it. So if it's one bite of vegetables a day because you don't eat any vegetables right now, I know we're supposed to get 5 or 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, but if you're not getting any right now, then taking 1 bite a day, if that's all you're willing to commit to, that's closer to your goal than if you only took 0 bites a day, right? So that's a decision. If you put that on your chart, it's a decision. You make it once. Make it clean. No wishy-washy, right? No flip-flopping. Your decision is connected to a goal. The goal is something you want for yourself, to eat more nutritious foods, right? So you put thought into your decision, and that's usually, you make that with your logical brain, like, my goal is to eat more nutritious foods. I don't really like vegetables, but I'm going to set a goal for eating 1 bite a day, right? That's your logical brain. You make a decision, you put it on your chart. A choice, right, on the other hand, is something that you make in the moment. It's often made with your emotions, right? So you can reverse any decision that you previously made, right? Choices can sabotage, our best laid plans, our most well thought out intentions, our most meaningful goals, because we're simply going by, do I feel like doing this? Right? And that's where we get into trouble, when we start asking, well, do I feel like it? Right? So what I recommend is making a decision about what goes on your daily ritual chart based on the goals you have, and most importantly, what you're willing to do every day to achieve them. Not what will get you there the fastest, and not what other people are doing, but what you yourself are willing to do consistently to reach that goal. And that way you can take choice off the table, right? No more choices. Like, make the decision once, put it on your daily ritual chart, which is your plan, and execute the plan. No questions asked. Like, you don't ask yourself questions after that point. You make the decision, you put on your daily ritual chart, which is the plan, you execute the plan every day. That's it. Right? And it might sound really harsh, right? But again, make very small commitments, in making your decisions, commit to something very small. The willingness. What are you willing to do? And be honest with yourself. You don't have to be willing to eat 1,200 calories a day. I'm not right now. I will be at some point to lose weight, but I'm not right now, right? I'm willing to do the treadmill. I'm willing to drink 24 ounces of water. I'm willing to stand for 8 hours, although that's going to change a little bit for a week or two. Willing to take my vitamins. Willing to sleep 7 or 8 hours. And what's the other one? Oh, I'm sure. Oh, exercise. Right. Willing to do those three exercises, one set each. Ask any personal trainer. 3 exercises, 1 set each is not enough to tone and condition and strengthen your body. I know that. I was a personal trainer. I plan to be again. But I do know that that's not enough. But that's all I'm willing to do right now. So that's what's on my chart. So that's why I can put on my chart, look at that every day, and just execute my plan. My plan is my chart is my plan. I just do it. I don't ask myself, do I feel like it? Yesterday when I went upstairs after the treadmill, realized I'd forgotten to do my exercises, I did not ask myself if I felt like it. I just went, Then I came back downstairs and I did it. And that, like I said, it might sound harsh, but that's how you get off of the roller coaster of wanting something, setting a goal, having the best of intentions, and then letting yourself off the hook because you didn't feel like it. And then you feel crappy about your stupid, lazy, weak self, whatever you beat yourself up with, right? That you can't stick to anything and you give up for a while. And then, you get your motivation back and repeat the whole cycle again and again, right? So it doesn't matter. Your daily ritual chart can have one single thing on it. Maybe it's take 1 bite of vegetables. Maybe it's do 1 jumping jack. Maybe it's make your bed in the morning, or brush your teeth twice a day because you're only brushing them once a day right now. It really doesn't matter. It's just the key is, when you make a commitment to yourself and you keep it, you will feel good, no matter how small it is. When you make a commitment, you keep it, you're going to feel good about yourself. And so, that feel-good feeling is what's going to fuel you to do a little bit more, just little by little, step by step. I promise you, this is the key. So for me yesterday, forgot to do my weights, only 3 exercises, probably less than 7 minutes. If I gave myself a choice, I could easily have said, what's the big deal? It's not going to do that much harm to skip it today. But I'd already made the decision to put it on my daily ritual chart. So for the things on my chart, I simply don't give myself the opportunity for choice. The only options are, there's 2 options. Put it on the chart and do it, or don't put it on the chart, right? So there's no third option of put it on the chart and do it if I feel like it. That's not an option. It's like put it on the chart and do it, or don't put it on the chart. I guess a third would be, if you put it on the chart and you don't do it, remove it. The only things on this chart should be things that you're willing to do consistently. So when I discovered that I hadn't done my weights, got my butt back downstairs, I peeled off those 3, exercises, 1 set each, gave myself a smiley on my chart, and sure enough, as soon as I turned that first song on when I got downstairs, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm good. This is going to be fine. For me, when I turn on music, a switch is flipped in my motivation, and I've known this forever, so it's weird how we can know something and know it's true for us, but when when we're away from it too long, we just forget, and so it's weird how we can know something is true for us, but if we're away from it for too long, we just forget. And so for me, music is the key. I've just got to remember, music is the key to exercise. Like walking, talking to you, that's fine. Walking, working on my computer, that's fine. If I'm to run, even jog, or doing my weights, I need music. It's like a flip, a switch, it turns me on, right? And so that's what I've got to remember for me. And hopefully, you'll find your own motivating force I've known people where it's the cute outfits they get to wear to the gym, right? Even if they're married, they're not trying to pick anybody up. They're just like wanting to look cute. It makes them feel good. And so they buy a bunch of cute outfits for the gym. And that's their motivating force, And for this one particular person I know, that's sort of how she goes through life. Like her outfits she wears to work. She works in a corporation. Her outfits she wears to work have historically always been very important to her, because I guess that's how she feels she expresses herself, right? And so it doesn't matter what your motivation is. You've just got to find it and use it, right? So I'm going to be using my music the whole way through. Like I said, it's no surprise. I've known this for decades, but I just forgotten how very important, it was to me. So, yesterday I talked about cutting back on the standing hours. And I did remember, right, when I went upstairs, I did remember to write it down. However, I remembered also that this is the last day before my kids would be back with me. And so there were certain things that I wanted to get done in the day, because I can have longer work days when they're not here. So there was some work stuff I needed to get done. Anyway, while I was standing was fine. And so I did end up hitting my 8 hours. So I didn't end up adding an extra hour onto the treadmill time. I was able to do certain things standing, hit 8 hours, and still sit down for a little bit at the end of the day to work on vision and strategy. So I think that today is going to be that first day that I do the whole, really assessing how many hours can I stand and still get my important vision and strategy work done. I'm very much still considering how many hours can I take away from standing and how much time can I add to the treadmill desk without sabotaging the quality of the work I'm doing. Because while they are equally important, I can't afford, to let, my work get diminished by my exercise routines. And there are many ways for me to exercise, so standing, but the arbitrary number I chose to stand 8 hours a day, I don't need to be so attached to that in order to have my goal, of living a healthier lifestyle. So we'll see how that turns out. Like I said, it's totally arbitrary, the number of hours I chose to stand. I think maybe I chose it because, 8 hours in the traditional workday. I'm not sure. I do know that when I first started doing it, not doing 8 hours, just any standing desk, when I first started doing it, I thought, well, good grief. Cashiers do this every day for their jobs, and I can't even make it, through an 8 hour period. This is before I was thinking about doing 8 hours. I think I was just trying it out. I didn't have a goal. But I was thinking plenty of people do this every single day, but what happens is it's true. You sort of do condition yourself to be able to do it for longer periods of time. And it's really not a big deal for me at this point. One thing I have noticed, I've always worn supportive shoes when I've done it. I've always worn some running shoes that are actually a secondary pair. I had a pair of running shoes I loved so much that I went ahead and bought a second pair. So they had never lived outside, I'd never worn them outside. And so I was like, okay, well, these can be my inside shoes, right? So I've worn those the whole time I've been doing any standing desk or any treadmill walking time. And I encourage you to make sure that you have shoes that have enough support, if you're doing any standing or walking, or especially running, because it can really impact, the strain that you're putting on your muscles, your joints, your ligaments, your tendons, your knees especially. But even with proper running shoes on, with a lot of support, I still do sometimes find that my legs are getting tired or my arches, are sore after 8 hours, so you totally have to assess whether what you're doing is the right thing to do for you. 8 hours, again, totally arbitrary, not a guideline I'm recommending for everybody. If anything, standing still is, it's better than sitting, but it's not blood flowing. So if you could have more movement in your day than I'm having in terms of, standing there for 8 hours, that would be good. Even if my 8 hours is broken up, it's still just standing in position for 8 hours. And movement is superior to standing. However, I need to work at a computer. So I really don't have that option at this point, until I retire, I guess. And I'm not sure I ever plan to retire because I like working. So what I'm saying is standing isn't the be-all, end-all. Moving is the be-all, end-all. Standing is better than sitting. That's what I'm saying. That's it. So I know I keep talking about, I'm edging up to changing my eating. Haven't done that at all yet. Zippity-doo-dah, zero. And if anything, might have been eating more junk recently because of some stressful things going on. But even when I'm eating junk, I always have healthy options in my house. I always have fruits and vegetables. Right now, I was looking at it the other day. It is summer, but right now I have cantaloupe, blueberries, strawberries, nectarines, what else? Cherries, bananas, and I felt like there was one other thing I have. Can't remember it right now, but I have like 7 fruits in my house, and I love them. Oh, watermelon, that was the other one. Watermelon's not as good for you as the others. It's still good for you. Very hydrating, most definitely. But I always have fruit. I always have vegetables. I always have healthy options, absolutely. I don't always choose the healthy options because I also, when I'm not trying to lose weight, I also have junk, right? And so it's just a choice. That's a great example, again, of that choice point, right? And so that's a great example, again, right, of that choice point. So eating healthier, for me, isn't about having the right things available because I already do, right? As I edge up toward changing my eating, for me, it really all hinges on meal prep and not buying junk food for me. And when I say not buying it for me, meaning not buying specific things that I'm like, I want those, I'm going to eat those. Because there will always be junk in my house as long as my kids live here. I absolutely believe in providing them healthy options, and they've always had healthy options, and I've always fed them relatively, healthy meals, but I do still buy them junk. I'm not sure if it was the right path, but I'm already well down that path. But another part of me says, well, it enables them to develop their own self-discipline, around this, because I've also known, people who were very restricted in their household and then went crazy once they were out of their household. And that was actually part of their problem, right? But then again, in my case, my mom, we had no junk food up to, around when I was 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. Then all of a sudden we were allowed to buy junk food. So, I'm not, and I'm an emotional eater, right? And so, I don't think junk food causes emotional eating at all. But I do think that we establish, our taste buds and our preferences. And first time you have sugar, you're like, hello, and sugar definitely makes you crave more sugar. No question about that. And so I don't know if we do a disservice. I don't know which way. I'd love to read more about it, actually, about whether you do more of a disservice by being very restrictive on your children and not giving them options. And then if that makes them sort of go crazy when they're away from home, whether they're away visiting, hanging out with friends, or whether they're away, at college, or, if you're doing more of a disservice by buying the things and letting them choose, like for my son, as I mentioned, he's a string bean. He's 6'2" and weighs 135 and eats healthy meals with me and his dad. His dad, luckily, they also serve healthy meals, but then he eats junk food, right? But he doesn't gain any weight. So he has no outer, quote unquote, motivation to change his eating. But of course, many of us have heard the term skinny fat, right? It's when from the outside you look thin, you look healthy. I mean, in his case, he looks very skinny, but you have health problems from eating fat, right? Or junk or whatever health problems you've got as a result of having a poor diet, even though you're not gaining weight because your metabolism is burning it off. That's what they call skinny fat. So that's not good for you either. And so for him, he is ADD. And so I just remind him when I see him going for some snacks, that's fine. He does that. I let him out and say anything. But then if I see him coming back to second round, I'll remind him of what's in the fridge, fruit, that's healthy that he could choose instead. And during, weekends and stuff, I cut things up. So it's not like he'd have a barrier to entry, right? What they call a barrier to entry in business. It's not like he'd have a barrier to choosing something healthy, because he doesn't have to do any work. He's just got to pull it out of the fridge and start eating it. So I just remind him, and most of the time when I do that, he goes ahead and gets something healthy. No pressure there. I wouldn't be mad or anything if he chose a junk food snack, and sometimes he does second round. But it's just having it available does not necessarily make you choose it, whether it's ADD and you don't think about it, or whether it's me that, is an emotional eater and just goes, well, I want cookies. But having it available is step one. And as I mentioned, for me, though, that's critically important for my future weight loss journey, that I have meal prep, though, because while I cook healthy meals for myself and my family when I'm not trying to lose weight, they're not weight loss meals. So they might still have, middling to, not high calorie count, but, still enough calories that I'm not going to ever lose weight eating these meals. They're not junky, but they're also not weight loss meals. They're not at the calorie level that's going to result in weight loss. So the two big keys for me are going to be meal prep and just not choosing junk food. Because while I can not buy things specifically intended for me, there will be junk food in my house as long as I have these two kids living here. My kids, not random kids, not these two kids, but two children of my own. So when I begin the weight loss leg of my healthy lifestyle journey, my eye moves toward it just being a decision to begin. Like, I really don't think so there will be junk food in my house when I'm on the weight loss leg of my healthy lifestyle journey. But as my eye moves toward a decision to actually begin it, I don't really think that having junk food in my house is going to be the problem. I mean, I think my biggest hurdle, again, is time. And everybody has a different hurdle, for sure. But mine's going to be time, right? I have to invest the time to find, prepare, and refine my meal prep perfect 10. I came up with that name yesterday. I think it was yesterday when I was talking with you. Like, if I can have 10 meal prep dishes that are winners, like time and time again, straightforward. It's not that when I make new meals, or I try out new recipes, it's not that they don't turn out right. It's just that ultimately I need to like them enough to be able to have them multiple days a week. because it's not as straightforward if you're trying to make 5 different or 6 different recipes each week. I mean, it's possible, especially if you're strategic and you can sort of overlap things and double use certain things or whatever, but I don't have that time yet either to get all strategic about it. So it's sort of like a workout routine. Like the further you go down the path with meal prep, the more efficient you're going to be able to make it. So with meal prep for me, ultimately, I might be able to make like multiple dishes with slight variations using the same marinade for a chicken dish and using that same marinade for a fish dish, or preparing chicken and then adding some of it to a stir fry, some of it to a salad, maybe some of it to a chowder, a low calorie chowder. I don't know, but I can't come up with a better example while I'm walking and talking on the treadmill. But you get the idea. There are low-calorie chowders. I definitely have a chicken corn chowder that was from Cooking Light magazine, so that one can't be terrible. In any case, all that's possible if you have time to commit, but I don't have that time to commit to make everything perfect right now. I just need to find the time to find, test, and refine 10 recipes that I can eat over and over and over without getting bored. So even if I just say, okay, I've got 10 recipes, I'm going to only prepare 2 of them each week, right? So then I can rotate through that 10, and that would cover 5 weeks without ever repeating a week, right? Is that true? Let's see. Yeah. Without ever repeating a week, right? Or repeating a meal. So if you have 10 recipes, 2 a week, that would be 5 weeks. So really I could even have 8, right? That would cover a month without me getting bored, as long as I could, eat through a week, eat like 2 recipes and be happy with it, which I've been pretty good about that, actually. I mean, if I have a meal prep dish that I enjoy, I have no real problem with, splitting it up like that, just having 2 a week and spreading them throughout the week. And for me, meal prep turns out to be the keystone. For other people, the keystone is different. I believe the keystone is that stone that's sort of shaped between a triangle and a square at the top of a stone archway, and it's the thing that secures the arch into place. Like if it wasn't there, the whole thing would topple down. But the keystone is the one that's at the top center, right, and is creating the, all the pressure is against that one, in order to hold the whole archway into place. And that's sort of how I look at meal prep. For me, that's going to be the keystone to my successful leg, of the healthy lifestyle journey, which the weight loss leg of the journey. Some people use packaged meal plans or frozen meals or meal delivery kits, right? And all that works perfectly equally, There's no right or wrong with that, but it just works better for me to go with something that's homemade. Simple though. I'm not a chef, so homemade and, recipes I like, recipes I can eat throughout a week without getting bored. If I can set aside, not if, I have to. I mean, it's really the holdback, honestly. That's why I call it the keystone. It's really what's keeping me from moving forward. So I have to set aside the time, to do that. I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it last week, and I didn't get it done. So I've got to. That's the key for me. That's the thing that once I get that done, I'll be reporting to you, hey, I'm starting on my weight loss journey today, right? So hopefully that's going to happen over this coming week. There's not really time for it to happen over this coming week. That's why I say the word hopefully. Hopefully I can figure it out. So until tomorrow, we'll see what happens. Until tomorrow, I hope that you have a great day. I hope that you get the things done that you want to get done. I hope that you keep all the commitments on your daily chart, no matter how many are on there, how few are on there, how big or small they are. I hope you keep them to yourself or choose to take them off so that you can feel good about yourself and your progress and your movement forward. So until tomorrow, hope you have a good one. I'm going to talk to you then. Bye-bye.